All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all the honor and praise and glory unto
Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakak with us.
Double orders to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect scattered abroad. This is the GMS Plaintables camp located in Delaware. Here to prophesy, here with another day to prophesy the downfall of Babylon the Great. All right, so we can start off with Matthew 24:3. All right, just going into the signs in the times that we're in. All right, we're currently at a time of war. Right, we're currently at a time of the economic instability. Right, things are becoming unstable. Right, 2026 also being the year coined by Apostle Tahar of agents, sellouts, apostasy. Right, we're seeing a lot of individuals coming out with different doctrines, selling heresies, out. Right, yeah. Heresies, yeah.
Weird stuff about going to your woman and I don't mean it's public information yet, but going to your ex-woman and her prophesying, which is weird as shit. I mean, that's your ex, and she's married to another man.
Oh yeah.
So that's weird. You got him trying to convince me that don't you know what the scriptures say about telling a dream, I guess, to your husband? Like but you're not even married to the woman, and she a devil anyway.
Right.
Devils can tell the truth. It don't mean you gotta listen to them. Just because somebody telling the truth, I mean you gotta listen to them, man. Satan tells the truth all the time. You should go take a class from the devil.
Right.
The devil knows more than us. The actual spirits in the spirit world who are demons, the evil demons, know more knowledge than we know.
Okay.
Infinitely amount of more knowledge than we know. All right, they're connected to in the spirit world for eternity.
Right.
So we're not supposed to go learn from devils just because they got some truth. Well, they got 100. Satan got 100% truth. Devil, the actual spiritual demon, Satan, all the demons have 100% truth. They know it. They know way the amount of knowledge that they know compared to what we know is can't even be measured. We're not supposed to consort demons and witches just because they have knowledge.
Right. Go ahead.
Gone. So this Matthew 24:3, it says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall it be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world?
Yep, go ahead.
It says, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come out my name, saying, I am a Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that I be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
So we're currently at the time of wars and rumors of wars, right? Tensions continue to rise in the Middle East. Now, I believe there's some sort of ceasefire agreement, but it's all just act, right? Smoke and mirrors. We understand that things are going to continue to ramp up. Things are going to continue to accelerate, right? And Esau's the devil, right? And I believe the small hats has already violated some of those ceasefires anyway, right? Just going to show you that you can't do you can't put no trust into this devil. All right, read that again.
It says Matthew 24:5. It says, for many shall come. 5. It says, for many shall come out in my name, saying, I am a Mashiach, and shall deceive many.
Keep going.
It says verse 6, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass.
Yeah. Now these aren't just you're not just hearing about these wars, right? You're feeling the effects of what's happening, right? With the Strait of Hormuz closure, right? With gas prices raising, right? The economy, you're feeling it in the economy. All right. So, clearly, all right, we're not just in the time of wars and rumors of wars, but we're seeing the effects of it, right? And people are getting directly and indirectly affected by this war. And what's also happening, right? You got the selective service age, right? Increasing in number, right? Now it used to be I think 25 or 26. Now they're trying to get it up to the 30s or the 40s, right? So, hey, we're in that time. Go ahead, keep reading.
It says Matthew 24 and 6, and you should hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that I be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
So all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Now we're still waiting on, a couple major prophecies, right? We're waiting on, because we're currently pretty much in Jacob's trouble, but we're waiting on it to intensify, right? Food not being on the shelves, and we're already seeing that, right? With what's going on with the economy and right, because eventually, as the Strait of Hormuz closure, right? As long as that is keeps on happening, it's going to be worse. It's going to get worse and worse. All right, read that again.
It says Matthew 24:6, and you should hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
Yeah, so we're still waiting on the MOTB, right, to come to pass. And Esau doesn't need 50 years or 100 years for that to pass. The technology is here, right? The everything that Esau pretty much needs in order for that to pass is here. All that needs to happen is for the economy to completely collapse so he can introduce that digital system. All right, go ahead.
It says Matthew 24:7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
Yep, go ahead.
It says, and all these are the beginning of sorrows.
All these are the beginning of sorrows. So things are not going to get better just because you see a little bit of slow, things are happening kind of slow, and they're having talks and things of that nature. That doesn't mean that things are going to go back to normal. Things are going to be good again. Things are going to keep on getting worse, right? The scriptures go into Yahweh Shai, he's coming as a thief, right? The scriptures also go into peace and safety and then sudden destruction, right? Lest that day overtake you as a thief. But us, we're going to stay sober, vigilant, and circumspect to what's going on, around the world, right? These different world events, because they all align with prophecy. Right? Go ahead.
Yeah, and the scriptures say how, ultimately these things are going to take the people unawares. The scriptures say, least to be taken unawares, basically paraphrasing. Also, what the scriptures say how, those days are going to be likened unto the days of Noah. They're going to be eating, drinking, and marrying, and, obviously not understanding the times that we are in. So, there's no, middle ground between that. So, of course, meaning that there's going to be many people on that side acting, as if things aren't even happening, and then boom, things are going to take them unawares, and then by the time they try to get right, referring to our people, of course, it's going to be too late.
Yeah, and that should be the main thing on your mind, right? Repentance. All right, Isaiah 33:6. Really, meditating on the times that we're coming in.
That's the problem, man. Jake don't think they have to repent from anything.
Yep.
They don't. That's why it says, "Cry loud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show Israel their sins." Because the problem with Israel is they don't think that they're sinning. They think that everything they do is, is basically up to them. They live in that free will spirit that live free and fucking, live the best life, which is all in wickedness, right? But they don't think that they have anything to be repenting from.
Right.
But that's why the Lord is going to require the blood, because of all the wickedness that you had done did,
Yeah. And Jake sees us, right? They have no excuse not to repent.
Yep.
Right? We're out here.
Yeah, or at least do some self-reflection. It's like at least they're out here to at least listen, do some self-reflecting, and realize they gotta get their fucking life right, man.
Yeah.
In the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai,
Yeah. You shouldn't be focused on trying to get ahead on this side. You're supposed to detach from this society and focus on what's to come. Right? Because, everybody, wants to say that, oh, this is the end times and things like that. But what are you actually doing to prepare for the times to come? Yep.
Knowing that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought you to be? That's that's the spirit you got to be into. You know what I mean? You got to understand that, obviously we need a certain level of survival, and a certain level of living you need is necessary. But to know that all this stuff's going to be burnt up, why even, don't concern yourself too much about it. Don't concern yourself too much with the world.
Right. Right.
Use this world, but don't abuse it. The scriptures say.
Yeah. Get that scripture, lay your treasures upon heaven.
Yep.
Yeah, we can get that real quick.
Yeah. Ultimately, man, all this shit's going to be dissolved, man. So we ain't really, like I said, we concern ourselves to a certain degree, but not anything more than that. Not any more than our, that's why they think that the Lord takes things from us. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
We really just need enough for our daily bread. That's why the scriptures also say, Matthew the 6th chapter, take no thought of what you shall eat or what you shall drink, even the necessities. even down to the bare necessities like eating and drinking, which you need as survival, or what you should wear as far as raiment and clothes. He said, don't even take no thought of that. First seek the kingdom of heaven and the Lord, and he'll add all that stuff onto you. So even when you're at your lowest of your low, maybe you lost your job, maybe you lost your woman, maybe you lost your family, all that stuff. Remember, it ain't nothing that we're going through that, the apostles and the 12 apostles and the men before us didn't go through. Some of them, a lot of the men suffered more than what we're suffering from right in this very moment, in this very day right now,
Yep. Yeah, the scriptures.
But the sufferings that is about to come is going to be like something that's never been seen before. That's why we got to get ourselves right now. That's why we got to be tried like gold is tried in the furnace, because the things, it's like the scriptures say that what's going to happen in this world is going to be something that's never been seen before.
There you go.
It's like,
and the scriptures go into give us poverty nor riches, right? The Lord gives us just enough
of a balance.
The Lord gives us just enough of a balance for us to be able to keep our eyes single on what we're supposed to be focused on, right?
And it's like, and not to give us too much, because we don't want to get complacent either. So to have that, the freaking, the troubles in the flesh it's all part of the spirit. It's all part of this, it's all part of the body. You gotta have troubles in the flesh. It's what it is. Because remember now, if you weren't getting trouble in the flesh, would we really be in hell? Would we really be in our punishment?
Right.
That's why scriptures talk about moaning and groaning and anguish of spirit, man. Everything's depressing in this damn kingdom, but it should be. We should. Right. It says, "Rise and depart, for this is not your rest." Imagine trying to be trying to lay down in a fucking a hay bed in the dead of winter. You can't. You're just tossing and turning, trying to get warm. You can't get because it's not your rest. If I say come up and come over here, I got a spot where you can lay your head in the warmth in a cozy bed. Once you get up and get out of there, the problem is our people only know this wretched fucking kingdom, so they're just trying to get comfortable here, even though there's no comfort here. There's literally no comfort here. They try to find comfort, but there's no comfort here.
Right.
Well, it's in the law about being blind. You get that too. They're blind. They can't see. If they could see, they would have moved to the
right. If they could see, they would.
Yeah.
They don't see the danger. They don't see the what the benefits are to
scriptures
come up under the yoke.
It
says a good thing for a man of better yoke in his youth. Get all those scriptures.
Yep. The scriptures also go into roughly paraphrasing the wise man foreseeth the evil. Right. Prudent man foreseeth the evil. So we're able to see what's about to happen through the spirit and the power of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, right? But yeah, brother, you can go ahead and read one of those scriptures.
It says, Matthew 6:19, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal.
There you go. Right? So our main focus is supposed to be on the kingdom, right? And Jake can't see past Babylon, Jake running on podcasts, right? Focusing on the next way to get rich, right? They're not seeing that this place is on the verge of being destroyed, right? We're coming to an economic collapse. We're coming to the point where everybody is going to have to make a decision on whether to take the MOTB or not. These are the type of times that we coming in, right? Go ahead.
Gone. It says Matthew 6 and 20. It says, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal.
Yeah, where moth and rust doth not corrupt, where thieves neither break through nor steal, right? Because our ultimate, what we want is salvation. What we want are bodies that's incorruptible, right? Being able to move, being able to be perfect, right? You're supposed to be in a state of mourning because we're under a rulership of a wicked man, right? Esau, Edom, right? Somebody that we're supposed to be ruling over. Somebody that has plagued the world, right? Through his philosophy, through his wickedness. Right? That's the reason why the state of the world is currently in the way it is now, because there's a wicked ruler. Right? Scriptures go into right, when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn, but when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. We're looking for that rejoicing period in the kingdom, right? Brothers go into to build up your spiritual bank account. You know, us going out here, you know, putting our bodies as a living sacrifice for the Lord, right? That's a part of it, right? Rehearsing the righteous acts, prophesying against Babylon, prophesying against Esau, being against wickedness. All right?
Hate the evil, love the good.
Right. Go ahead, bro.
It says Matthew 6:21, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
Yeah. So where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So, you know, when you in this truth, you gotta be sincere. You got a lot of people that come into the truth, you know, for ulterior motives, right? For their own gain, for status in the world, right? Monetary reasons. It's not ultimately about, you know, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. All right? Go ahead.
It says the light of, so verse 22, it says, Matthew 6:22, for the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light.
Right. So you got to keep your eyes on the prize, right? You got to focus on what's actually going on, right? Because it's easy to get caught up with, you know, work, right? You know, just the affairs of this world, right? But you got to remember that, you know, we're in Babylon and this place has a time limit. Everything around us that you see is all going to get burnt up, right? All the skyscrapers, buildings, cars, right? Mansions, right? And the wicked people along with it, they're going to get burnt up in the destruction. All right? Go ahead.
It says Matthew 6:23, but if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness?
There you go. So again, you know, you got to be focused, right? And if you got any type of leaven, right? If you got any type of leaven, you got to purge out that leaven. Right? Because the scriptures also go into, you know, evil men wax worse and worse. So if you're not constantly purging out the leaven, right, constantly, you know, battling those demons, or eventually you're going to get overtook by that demon.
Well, it says a little leaven the whole lump.
Right. Yep. But you can get the other scripture the elder called for. Yep.
Yeah, it's one more too.
All right, go ahead.
It says verse 24, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve the Most High and Mammon.
Right. You can't have, you know, 1 foot here and 1 foot there. You know, it's either got to be one or the other. All right. You can't put this truth on you know, put your duties in the truth on hold to handle affairs in the world. That's not how this works. Right. You got people that, you know, want to take, you know, hibernations. Right. You want to take breaks. 6 months, 7 months, you know, you don't see them and then they pop out again, right? The Lord ain't dealing with that. You got to be hot in this thing, right? And that's a part of the sacrifice, all right? So go ahead.
It says, so this is Deuteronomy 16:19. It says, thou shalt not wrest judgment, thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift, for a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise, and pervert the words of the righteous.
And that's what we see, right? What's the prime example that we seen that happened recently, right? You got these two guys going away from the name of Yahushai, right? And doing what? It's preaching in Jesus, Yeshua, right? And these are guys that, you know, were preaching that the heathens couldn't be saved, preaching in the name of Yahushai, all these different things, but these guys were rebellious. But these guys were rebellious. Right? So because these guys didn't repent and they had a level of pride, we're seeing these guys wax worse and worse. Making merchant. Go ahead.
Many latter days, some should depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits.
Yeah, we could get that too. Yep.
That's what happened. You know, because they slowly just eroded, and now you got people still follow these idiots. And now I ain't watched the video. I think one of the elders did a video on you got the name wrong or something like that.
Something.
Now it's a different name. I gotta look into.
Yeah.
To it. They got the name. They got now it's Yeshua or something like that.
Because what's his name? Hassad said the real name of Jesus is Yeshua.
Yeshua.
That's what he said.
He said it. He actually said it.
He actually said that.
It fell away. Hey, he wasn't of the elect. I mean, that's it. That's going to happen. The scripture says it's going to happen. So you got to identify who's going to happen to in real time, because it said that they're going to depart from the faith.
Yep.
And they always had reservations, you know. So Here's what it is. Go ahead.
It's like which chapter? I was in
28.
28, 20. It says Deuteronomy 28 and 28. It says the Lord Yahweh shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
Yeah. It ain't talking about you losing your eyesight and shit, getting glaucoma. It's talking about you not being able to understand the will of the Lord, understand the law, understand the prophets, the prophecies. I get 1 Corinthians 14:37 also. So that's a curse. You'll be smitten with blindness and madness. All right? That's mad. The name of the Lord is Yeshua. That's basically what that's correct Edomite Hebrew.
Yeah.
That's how that's the Edomite Hebrew.
That's the
exact Edomite Hebrew.
That's these guys returning back to the vomit.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
Great Millstone.
Yep.
Great Millstone.
Oh, Great Millstone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, shit. The one that's in California? Great Millstone? The one
Great
that's in
Millstone
California?
came out of New York.
Oh, out of New York? Oh, well, there's another Great Millstone
We
in
have
California.
all over the country, brother. All right? It's not
yeah.
just one place.
Okay.
Came out of New York, Harlem.
Okay.
All right, in the 70s, 60s, 60s, 70s, yeah.
All right, brother.
Yep.
All right, but these guys are, like a dog returning back to the vomit, right? Like as the scripture said, because these guys are basically rebranding themselves as Christians, right? That's the doctrine they're preaching, right? All the heathens can be saved, preaching in the name of Jesus or Yeshua, right? So these guys have completely, steered left, away from what they used to believe. And they still have those videos up, when they were, the Machete Mondays, right? Against, going against Christians, debating salvation. They still have these videos up,
Yeah, and that's an example of a person who don't really give a shit, Just making light inquiries. They ain't going to the library. I don't know what they be doing in the library, but a lot of people go in and going there. Up there reading.
Yeah.
Or there might be programs in there, different programs or something.
right?
But he just lightly inquiry. He already knew. Interesting what we do, but he ain't gonna commit. That's pretty much like 99% of Jake.
That's an example of the scripture we just read, of smitten with blindness.
Yeah.
You guys there's a one in California, right? Like, you see, that's the type of guy, like, he watches all the camps probably.
Yeah, so he does.
Or he'll just,
Like it's one in California. Like, why would you mention another state and we're here in Wilmington? Like, this spatial awareness is just all fucked up. Jake is crazy as shit, man.
Yeah.
That's why you can't teach him shit. That's why you ever want to get 14 chapter of Corinthians.
Yeah, let's get it.
Yep, Con.
That's the problem. That's the other problem with Jake is they got the what's called the Don Kruger effect.
Stuck on stupid.
It's where they think they know more than what they actually know, and
Don
they
Kruger?
Don Kruger effect.
Did he know that?
He probably don't know.
Don Kruger didn't know.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure where they get the
Freddy Krueger?
Yeah, Freddy Krueger. Yeah, I
Right.
don't know where they get the saying.
Don Kruger didn't know.
But yeah, basically it's like it's
So
when
he probably did the experimental study. Don Kruger.
Yeah.
It's someone who doesn't know how broad a certain spectrum is, so they think they know it all. That's oftentimes Jake.
So they don't get involved because they think they know everything.
Exactly. So they hear enough about GMS or hear enough about the street teachings. That they know a little bit, so they just know it all. Jake just knows it all. They just come up here already knowing what it's about, and then we clearly prove them that they're wrong, and then they get upset. You know?
And it was no point of him coming up and asking us. All he did was interrupt us from speaking. That's all he did.
Shalom. Which camp y'all from?
Right.
It's like he heard that one time in another
video.
video.
Banging in his ears from the headphones, talking loud like Jake is crazy as shit.
Yeah.
Instead of taking his fucking noise canceling headphones out.
Yeah, radiation fucking up his, from the Bluetooth and shit. Go ahead, bro.
It says 1 Corinthians 14:37. It says, if any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge that the things that I write unto you are the commandments of the Lord.
There you go. So you gotta be able to have that discernment, and you gotta be able to seek the truth. A guy like that, he's not actually seeking the truth, because if he was actually seeking the truth, he would have just sat there or stood there and listened to the camp.
Well, he already probably thinks he knows it all, so
right.
you don't have to listen.
Yeah, like I remember it was a Benjamite, he walked past, he was like, oh, I read the book already. You know, he was like, I already read the book. I don't need, you know.
Yep.
They think that they can get it all, get it on their own. You know, and they don't need, you know, somebody to teach them, right?
I read it front to back.
Yeah.
I read it front to back.
They think that's all they need to do is read the book.
Front to back.
Yeah, front to back. Like a fucking goddamn Sam I Am book, Dr. Seuss book. Read it front to back.
Yep.
And then they'll just understand it all. Or if they don't understand it, then it's obviously, like a Harry Potter novel.
Or you got the people that think that everybody is supposed to have their own interpretation. Interpretation of the scriptures. You know, the scriptures mean whatever you think it means.
And they don't need an authority. They're against organized religion. That's what they say.
Yep.
You're against organized religion. Well, organized religion is going to save your ass.
Right.
But again, you're not of the elect anyway, probably. So, you know, it won't. So you're right. Just stay where you at. All right. The scriptures condemn you. All right. And when you start to suffer, then the scriptures are going to come to pass. They're going to know what we were telling you was the truth. All right. Continue with that.
It says, verse 38 of 1 Corinthians 14. But if any man be ignorant, let him be ignorant.
There you go.
It's not our job to pull you out of fucking obscurity. If you're stupid as hell, hey, you can't get it. You can't get right. You can't get right. All right. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chances. If you keep coming past, you still can't get it. Ain't nothing we can do for you.
Right. Yeah, like a guy like that, he just not gonna get it. He'll like even us correcting him, he's still gonna think GMS is another GMS in California or whatever his thought process was.
His mind is in California and not in Wilmington where you're standing at.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, warn the wicked man of his wicked way. If he still follows after his own accord, the blood is not on your hands. You know?
Right.
I'm not gonna beg and plead for him to, you know, come on this side, man. You know, that's why the scriptures talk about there being a 2/3. That's why we have an understanding of that. You know, oftentimes a lot of these other camps, they just try so hard to just seek followers and seek people to follow after them, and it's like, you know, they ain't fit for the master Zeus. They ain't fruit worthy to be in repentance. We're here for fruit worthy of repentance. Fruit worthy to be of salvation. You know, we're not trying to get any old fucking body over here. We're trying to get people that are serious about this thing, committed to this thing. The elect is going to be a committed group of men that, you know, basically are willing to lay down their life for this thing.
Right. And that's something that, you know, that's already got to be within your spirit. It's nothing that, you know, we can say or teach. You know, that's all from. If you're a part of the elect, you know, you're a part of the elect, and that's it.
Now, maybe it might not be your time, you know? Right. It might not be your time to hear it, but I wouldn't play no chances, man. I wouldn't fucking take no chances. Like, if you start hearing the word now, this might be the only opportunity you get. There might not be another opportunity for you to turn back. That's why, the owner of the house don't know when the thief cometh, you know? So
you get that urgency.
Exactly, yeah. When we start to get that awareness, like, you know what? Something's off. You start checking over your shoulder like, something's fucking ain't right. And you get yourself up out of a certain area. Unfortunately, like the brother said, like Jake don't have like spatial awareness, or like, you know, they don't seek, they're not circumspect, they don't look at the evils like the scriptures talk about. So oftentimes Jake gonna come up here and think, you know, I got time, I'm gonna worry about that. And that's gonna be the seal to destruction.
Yeah, because the elect, at the end of the day, the elect got the fear of the Lord on them. You know, because, you know, when I first came into the truth, you know, I felt like as soon as possible, I had to go out there on the highways and hedges, you know, because I feel like, hey, the Lord might judge me, might jack me up.
There was things that we fell short along the way, right? Coming into it, you know, being reborn again, right? There's something, when you first come into it, there's things you fall short of, but you're that zeal, that spirit to just keep pushing forward, to keep doing the right thing. Like, what do I got to do right to amend for my sins, you know?
Right.
That's the spirit to have. But go ahead, brother, like you said.
There you go. Yep. Keep going, bro.
It says 1 Corinthians 14 and 39, wherefore, brethren, covet to prophesy, and forbid not to speak with tongues. It says, let all things be done decently and in order.
There you go.
Don't to word ignorant and covet prophecy.
So it's like ignorant, agneo in the Greek, or agnoeo. It says not to know, not to understand, unknown. It says to err or sin through mistake, to be wrong. It also says not to know through lack of information or intelligence.
There you go. And that's whatever the scriptures talk about. This is the willingly ignorant of. Instead of just taking the time to seek it out and to learn it, they just rather willingly be ignorant of it. Like, you know, they rather live in their own fucking stupidity. you know?
Yeah. People want to be left alone to, do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, the ignorance is bliss, right? You know?
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, well, as the scriptures say, our people are side destruction.
Yep. Hard-headed and stiff-necked generation.
Yep. It says, verse 39, wherefore, brethren, covet to prophesy, and forbid not to speak with tongues. So,
You mean speak in different languages, not speak gibberish.
Yeah,
right?
not that,
Hum shibli.
And see, and people really think that the spirit is on those people,
Those are actors.
Yeah, all they're doing is speaking delusions.
Right. Demons.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
it says, so for covet in the Greek, it says, sileo. It says, to burn with zeal, to be heated, or to boil with envy. Whoa. It says the
positive or negative connotation.
Yeah.
They don't know how to use it.
God. It says in a good sense.
Zeal.
Yeah. It says in a good sense to be zealous in the pursuit of good.
Yeah, to boil, fervent in the spirit. Boil. Be active, eager, wanting, able, voluntariness. Psalms 110, thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power.
It says to desire earnestly, pursue. It says to desire earnestly, to strive after, busy oneself about him. It says
busy, boiling, with the zeal, busy. Get involved, action, acts of the apostles, acts. Good.
It says to exert oneself for one, that he may not be torn from me. It says to be the object of the zeal of others.
That he may not be torn from him, it says?
Or it says that he may not be torn from me.
Yeah, that he may not be torn from me. So to be active, so he may not be torn from me. Yeah, because the more active you are, the more bonding you have, the more information you got to bind you to whatever group you're a part of, thing or person you're a part of. You become familiar. Right?
It says to be the object of the zeal of others, to be zealously sought after. So,
or to sought after something. Right? To seek after something. Yeah. Zeal, covet. It says covet prophecy. Prophecy with the things that are going to happen in the future.
Yep.
Right? So covet understanding those things. Covet prophecy. Right?
it says to have warmth of feeling for. To have warmth of feeling for. So, there you have it.
Because you're close to it, you're familiar.
It also says affect, with the A. So, being affectionate. Yeah, so it says affect, meaning have an effect on, or it says make a difference to. So, that's what you got to do within the truth. So it says, 1 Corinthians 14 and 40, let all things be done decently and in order. So, come on.
Let all things be done order. Get order. Look up decent. I don't think I look up decent. Order is like I like both words every while. Decently and in order.
Gone. So it says for decently, it says well, that's kind of a hard one. Yo ske mon ose.
What?
Meaning it says in a seemly manner. It says decorously and honestly.
Together, honest. Right. Decent. What? Order.
Gone. It also going to the root is pretty good. It says ske mone, meaning it says of elegant figure, shapely, graceful, calmly. It says bearing oneself becomingly in speech or behavior. It says of good standing, honorable, influential, wealthy, respectable. So
Decent. Decently. Right. And order. Kai and order.
It says the Greek word is taxis.
Taxes.
Texas.
Yeah, meaning says an arrangement, a fixed succession, observing a fixed time. Well, yeah, it says do or right order.
Yeah, there's a pattern, an algorithm, so we all arrange in a certain way. And you can recognize, this is how you can recognize the different camps from each other. Great Millstone from ISUBK to IUIC. They have a certain pattern, like they were the purple, and then you got the ISUBK that wear all black.
Yep.
So, and you got us, we focus on the Hebrew, the name of the Most High, the name of the Son. We reject the word Christ. We don't use Christ only for example. When we say the name of the Lord, we confess the name of the Most High and the Son, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. That's the pattern, that's the arrangement that you can see us in. It's recognizable. We're arranged in a certain way, a certain pattern. Go ahead.
It says do or right order, orderly condition. It says the post, rank, or position which one holds in civic or other affairs. It says, since this position generally depends on one's talents, experience, resources. It also says character,
Yeah, so where you're going to be arranged at depends on your experience and resources. Where you arrange that in the pattern, or your rank. What?
It says character, fashion, quality, style.
Character, style. Like all things be done decently and in order. All right, all things, and we gotta we'll reach that perfection. But we do our best, in the camp, to show up and get our work done throughout the week, and make Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai perform His will,
Right.
as it is written. That was it. Let's get that scripture where it says, "It is indeed good for a man to bear the yoke in his youth." Forget where that's at.
It says Lamentations 3:27. It says it is good for a man that he bear the yoke in his youth. Well, actually, we can start a little bit up. Yeah, verse 26. It says it is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord Yahweh. It is good for a man that he should bear the yoke in his youth. It says he sitteth alone and keepeth silence because he hath borne it upon him.
Yeah, so that yoke, give me what Yahweh Shai said, I believe it's the temple. And said his yoke is easy to bear, burden is light. Come ye to all that labor and that heavy laden.
It says Matthew.
For a man to bear a yoke in his youth. What? What Yahweh Shai said.
It says Matthew 11:28. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. It says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
Yeah, so there's a yoke. So there are rules, there are guidelines, guardrails, and laws, but we know that we're able to do them. We're able to do them, so it's not an excuse. And the people on the outside, they may not be able to do them. They're not of the elect.
Right.
All right. So it is a yoke, but it's a yoke that's proper. It is necessary. Because our Creator said so. Because our Creator ordained it. You leave there. Next precept. Oh, I mentioned whether they hear or forbear. Not verbatim, but the 3rd chapter.
God.
Start from the 2nd chapter. The last couple of verses, the last verse or 2. Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter, into the 3rd chapter, to the last 2 verses.
Gone. So it says Ezekiel 2. And 7, it says, and thou shalt speak my words unto them. It says, whether they will hear, or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious.
Yeah. So the job of a prophet is to blow the trumpet, to give you the warning, right?
Second chapter?
Come on, second chapter.
2:7.
Yes, 2:7.
Yeah. Whether you hear or forbear, that's not for us to decide. All right. Us is to give you, we give you the information, right? Spread the message, blow the trumpet, and whether you listen or not, that's on you. Go ahead.
We can't make you to hear it or make you to understand it. You know what I mean? Only to speak it.
Right.
It says Ezekiel 2:8, "But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee. Be not thou rebellious like thy rebellious house. Open thy mouth and eat that I give thee." It says, "And when I looked, behold, an hand was sent unto me, and lo, it says, a roll of a book was therein."
Yep.
It says, "And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there was written therein lamentations and mourning and woe." Yep.
Yeah. So at 8, Jake is rebellious. Read that again.
God, it says Ezekiel 2:9, "And when I looked, behold," it says, "And when I looked, behold, and the hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there was written therein lamentations and mourning and woe."
Yeah. So the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures, right? In the prophecies, there's going to be a lot of, destruction, right? Lamentation, right? You could also go into, once you get into this truth, right, the bitterness as well. Because, this truth isn't, the honey. You got the honey when you first come in. You find out you're an Israelite. Esau's the devil, right? You find out about the kingdom, things like that. But, the bitterness comes in us having to endure, right? Us facing adversity, right? Us being slandered, hated by the world. Us having to, go through, having to balance, this wicked world, right? And the truth, because us being in the truth, we're already going to have people are going to treat us a different way because we have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. All right, go ahead.
Come on. And that's it on that.
Read Lamentations, mourning, and woe. All right, so the scriptures say that it's a time to mourn and a time to weep.
Yep.
A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. Right now, we're in a time of mourning.
Mm-hmm.
What David said, he said he's walking through the valley of the shadow of death. Right. Now, what the church teaches, they teach prosperity. So they don't teach the fire and brimstone as much as they used to anymore, or not at all. So we're in a time of destruction and war. So that's the spirit that we're supposed to be in when we teach. All right, lamentation, mourning, and woe.
God. Yeah, we're not gonna be out here. Yeah, we're not gonna be out here rap songs.
Remember Burgers and Friends song?
Burgers.
Right? IUIC, I play.
He was a coming, yeah.
He was a coming.
Yeah.
1,000
Burgers and Fringes.
Yeah,
So
burgers
basically,
and
you can basically still have fun and read the Bible also, and know the Bible. That was the premise behind the song, the rap song.
Right. Yeah. Like and going into them two guys again, they didn't want to partake in the bitter herbs, right? Which the bitter herbs represent our bondage, the bitterness of us being in captivity, bondage. Yeah. They thought they could substitute it with romaine lettuce. Just goes
because
to show.
It's bitter than him.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Probably eating iceberg lettuce too.
God, yeah. Man.
It's gone. It says
romaine, not a romaine, the head of lettuce.
Head of lettuce, yeah.
The head that we used to eat when we was growing up.
Yeah,
before we started eating greens as an adult.
That's be the most recalled salads too. The iceberg, head of lettuce.
Yeah, it's light green. Don't be that dark.
Yeah.
Come off the head.
Yep. You smash it down, pull the core out.
Yeah, that's how they do it.
Yeah. Right. Chop it up.
Put it in the bag.
Yeah.
Save-A-Lot. I remember when I was young, we used to go to Save-A-Lot, or my parents used to go to Save-A-Lot, and they used to bring back endless bags of groceries. We used to run up and down the steps, no shoes on, from the car up to the top of the steps. I grew up in a row house with steps and all that, and a little garden in front. Yeah. So, endless. That's when groceries were cheaper back then.
Yep.
Endless bags and bags and bags of groceries. I remember that. Now you come back with like 2, 3 bags, 4 bags, 5 bags, depending on how the size of your family is. But I remember 15, 20 bags when I was young of groceries.
Filling up the cupboards, filling up the fridge.
Well, I know the origins of the word cupboard too. It's cups. Cabinet covers.
DiGiorno and honey buns and shit.
Cabinets,
Covers.
Capri Suns. Yeah.
Cabinet, there's cupboards to be.
Yeah. You saw it. Now inflation. You know, they're attacking the food industry, the pipeline, raising the prices. They've took a lot of price gouging and engineering of the prices, like they're doing with gasoline, petroleum products.
And they own a monopoly on the food, right? So it's like looking at a monopoly board, and everybody that owns every space is the same fucking person. You know what I mean? Like, you're not getting no fresh this, fresh that, and a lot of these other brands of that are coming up, like maybe these random mom and pop shops, people that are trying to have like a wholesome or a healthier option. Who's buying it? Guess who's buying it up? But then Pepsi's buying it up. Coke's buying it up. Nestle's buying it up. Like all these companies are buying this up. Johnson & Johnson's buying them up. You know what I mean? All these freaking companies that are that trying to do right for your babies and stuff like that. Well, guess what? They're buying it up, and then they're freaking polluting it. These energy drinks that like try to have a more holistic or better benefit, where they're trying to use more.
It's still poison anyway.
Yeah,
because if we ate food, we wouldn't get acne, we wouldn't get colds,
ulcers,
we wouldn't get rashes, and ulcers with the healthy stuff. You gotta stuff you can do, but you gotta detox, get rid of the parasites. And you still might not get rid of it.
It's crazy, like all these manufacturers and companies and stuff like that. I mean, even down to the supply chain, even down to the transportation of these things. All we got to do is a little break in, and that's why, even if the little bit of an outbreak happens, like what happened a year or 2 years ago with the eggs fucking shot up in price by astronomical freaking amounts. All because there was some sort of flu going through or like that. And a lot of the shit I think it feels like manifested or not manifested, but orchestrated to drive prices up.
They don't have to raise their prices. They choose to raise their prices. That's the thing. People go, it costs they choose to raise their prices.
Now,
it's based upon supply and demand, not the cost of the actual product.
Right.
Yep. Which is crazy because that's what leads to panic buying. That's what also ends up leading to higher prices. Because the thing is, we had enough toilet paper and paper towels for fucking COVID. You know what I mean? Yeah. But all of a sudden, everybody bought the shit up. So what did it do? Fucking price gouge every goddamn thing.
Right.
Yep. Lysol.
Or even if they didn't price gouge it, they still would run out of it because people are hoarding it.
For no fucking reason.
Because they're not supposed to be buying that much.
Yep.
So even if no price changed, because a lot of prices didn't change. Like the big box stores, I don't think they changed their stuff. But if I'm not mistaken, but they didn't change it. But it was still hard to get because people were buying more than they needed. Instead of buying 1 roll, they would buy 3 rolls. Now 50% of people buy three big packs instead of 1 what they normally get. It's going to run out, and they're going to have to put more orders in and reorder faster and higher frequency.
Because the manufacturer's only making enough to keep up with sales and stuff like that. So all of a sudden there's something that causes it to sell more.
3 times as much.
They're not ready for that. Not manufacturers ready for that unless I think that there is some They
don't want to be stuck in the house using their damn thumb to evacuate their feces out their ass. So they bought 3 packs instead of 1. They had to wash their hands. Start using multi-purpose rags like dishes and that, gas. So they say, instead of just buying one pack, we buy 3 packs. So that's the demand skyrocketed like 300%. So and then you have people who price gouging at the same time.
Yeah, I seen it firsthand from the from the supply chain side of it. Like we had so much paper in that warehouse. I mean, it literally from one end of the store or to the warehouse. Then all the way to the other end, double stacked. I mean, we're talking probably 5,000 of one brand of paper to 10,000. This is,
Versus what? So that increased like a couple 100% then?
Yeah. So then all of a sudden when COVID happened, bro, the amount of the fucking shit just wiped clean. And then it was something funny. Every time we finally would get a load in, bro, we wouldn't even take the time locating it because we just knew it was gonna go right back out the fucking door, out the other door, the coming receiving door, right back out the shipping door. So we leave it right in the dock. you know, the RSR drivers or like that, full pull drivers that come in, pick the whole fucking pallet, take it to the shipping dock, and send it out. This is .com, so it's going right to their,
Tells
right
you
to their
what, in
doorstep.
the pocket for buying and selling.
Oh, yep.
Evil. Get that preset. It's relevant to the job. Yeah. So we look and get David to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. All right, Esau might try to pull another trick with the bug. The bug. And remember, AI cannot replace your creativity. Okay?
Yeah, that's
You can't play, well, they can do a good job at certain points, but your uniqueness as a person is important.
yeah, because
Right.
I'm tired of seeing them damn AI flyers, man. Like, because that's all you see nowadays. Just, and you can tell it's just it's all the same format.
Yeah. AI
It's just
slop is
it
what we
just
call it. AI
yeah,
slop,
you
yeah.
just you don't even want to read it because you know it's just like AI. There's no creativity, there's no life behind it.
Now, Esau can downsize these jobs, but you still need a developer on your team
Right.
because they're not gonna, unless it's so advanced, they don't have a software engineering department. They just got a manager, one person. When it would have been 15 people or 30 people. I don't think we're gonna get there anytime soon. Okay, we just got a manager, and he manages the AI. I don't think so. So not anytime soon. At least Esau do one of the miracles, But I doubt that. Then the widespread adoption to all these companies, I think they're pretty much scared of it and they don't understand it enough. So I don't think they're going to just jump into that.
Yep.
But I can see startups using it. Startups using AI to, because startups are broke. They don't have funding. So they need to use those tools. And they go out of business really frequently because they run out of money. They gotta fire everybody and start over again under a different name.
Yep.
But these big established companies, it's gonna take some time for them to downsize their workforce on the software side because they have to invest tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars into it.
Right.
And then they gotta test it, research and development, and then they gotta test it for a certain amount of time where they actually trust it. Then they can start downsizing. But from say 100 people down to 20 people. All right. Then you got the automated warehouses where anything that's in a predetermined container size your job can be replaced to unload and load a truck. But again, hundreds of millions of dollars investment to get to that point, and research and development, and then you got to test it. Because the theory is that, well, not theory, they don't take lunch breaks, but then you still need technicians to repair those machines. All right? And it's going to run on, obviously, AI algorithm, basically going to get input from the actual environment and make decisions based upon the input. To take the packages off, put them, they got to be in a specific, or it can measure the container in real time, grab the package, the box, weigh it, and then move it to its proper location. All right? Again, Esau, what Scripture say when he's about to fill his belly. So that's where Esau actually want to get. The Lord will rain hellfire on his ass. Roughly paraphrasing. All right. So it's gonna take some time to get there. Security, threats. They got automated tools for that too. Like your virus software is AI. It detects threats when it comes to your software try to access this link, try to access this IP address, and try to load this application up. That's artificial intelligence. All right. But when it comes to the businesses, they don't just depend on automated tools. They need someone physically there, watching, running security checks in real time.
Right.
All right. You're just not going to depend on an automated software just running by itself, like regular consumers computers do. All right. But they have too much on the line. Too much money can be lost and downtime. Because what hackers will do, they'll actually break into an industrial plant and then turn something on to 100%. It'll burn out motors, or take control of a screen, the HMI, human interface screen, and make it read incorrect readings. Like it's really on when you thought it was off. Industrial sabotage. So they're not going to rely on automatic tools for that stuff. going to rely on both automatic and human in the loop, so to speak. Humans in the loop. Now I'm sure Esau, if he could, he would do that. He would make everything fucking automated and put us in fucking slavery.
It definitely cuts down a lot of the manual labor. I mean, every company is in some sort of form. Even down to your phone. You know what I mean? Like how many times you get a text and there's already an AI response on what you should say back to the freaking thing, like up in your thing, like
Uber and Lyft. When you accept a ride, right? Or you get close to a location. It's a script that's already written to notify the customer that you're nearby.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? It's all that's.
Yeah, Mike's
the software.
Yeah, the company I work
whatever software they're using, but I think it's built on Python or something.
Yeah, the company I'm working for, they're investing in
automatic
AI.
emails. That's,
Yep. Yeah, the company I work for, they invest in a lot of AI, and we're like a lot of like reporting. So like I can like say, hey, give me the reports for this X and Y, team member or associate, and the production and rate and all that, and it's whatever. I put it in this type of data, and they just fucking compile the data for you. So like that gets rid of like a lot of these like jobs across seas, or like a lot of reporting jobs and stuff like that. Like a lot of reporting jobs that really a business really needs to run. They just wipe half the freaking thing out by that because it's already compiled in there, and there's already a script that constantly compiles that data continuously. So now, like the brother's saying, now if there's any time of break, sometimes there's like things that can happen, right? That's why like
you need a human in the loop.
If the system were to break down or go down, that's why you have to validate. That's why there's humans that have to validate is the system up and running properly.
Yeah, if it's too high or too low, like on Lyft, I got cheated on a ride. It was an hour ride, and I only made $13. This is kind of weird.
Whoa.
So I went to the like. I don't think I got. Well, it was 45 minutes. I think something's wrong.
Was it by miles or was it just like a lot of traffic?
It was by miles.
Okay.
It was about. It was 19-mile ride.
Oh yeah.
It's supposed to be at least $20.
At least, yeah.
At least $20. So I was talking to the AI, and the AI filled the blank and filled the rest. It got to like 1996 or something like that.
Right.
The AI actually paid me the additional money.
Oh wow.
And I spoke to it. That was the AI. So the AI had control over a certain amount. Now if it was a larger amount, I'm sure it had to access a human.
Right.
But it was a certain amount. The AI was automated to give me that money.
Yep.
So AI can move money around, right, and make final decisions and analyze the mileage and the time it took, and what it charged. It charged the customer $60, $58.
Wow.
Yeah. Uber Lyft drivers getting cheated.
Yeah.
But it charged the customer $58. So AI ran through all that in like a second. They said, all right, we're already fucking you anyway. Let's add that money. Well, it read everything. It read the miles, the time, how much they charge.
They already got the money from the
fees.
customer, so might as well give it to the driver.
Yeah. So that's what it did.
Yeah.
So it was a 19-mile ride. So I ended up making like 1996.
Did they ever tell you why it was happening like that, or just said,
No.
"Oh, sorry for the inconvenience. Here's an additional money."
Here's the money, and they added. Said, "Are you satisfied with this?" I said, "All right, I'm not gonna fucking complain about it too much." I mean, the AI gonna take the shit back. Like, yeah, get the shit down.
Right.
But anybody would do that. But I didn't want to push back too much. So it's 45-minute ride, 19 miles.
It's not bad. About $20 an hour.
About $1 a mile, roughly.
Yeah.
So that's the capabilities of artificial intelligence.
Yep.
All right. So that's his purpose. And remember, this is for evil. Remember, Esau creates technology for evil.
Yep.
All right. So his inventions, the scripture say thou art wiser than Daniel.
Right.
All right.
Yeah,
So
let's get that.
these inventions are created for evil. All right. And the peripheral is we get to benefit somewhat.
Yeah. His devices, which is his
Yeah.
plans and his schemes.
Purpose,
It's all part of his wickedness.
Yep.
It's all part of control.
Like the microwave, I'm sure that was a damn fucking weapon.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
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 But it cooks. That's one power level of a microwave that we use for consumer applications. That's just one power level. All right. Well, you got.
It says Ezekiel 28:3. It says, "Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee."
Yeah.
Yep.
All those computations and trillions of I saw a video where he said Mario Kart 1996. I think it was like a billion computations per second or something like that to run that game on 64. I don't know if you remember Nintendo 64.
God, yeah.
Mario game, and that was 1996. And I believe they were going to the graphics cards or processor. I forget which one, but it was a lot of computations. Now it's in the trillions per second. You know. So those are problem solving. Imagine they broke it down like a people problem solving. So you're problem solving. So you have basically it's a bunch of people crammed into not literally, but figuratively, like trillions of people crammed into a processor. Doing work.
Shit, look at virtual reality, man. Virtual reality is fucking crazy. I don't know if you ever put on the meta glasses, but they're fucking crazy.
VR headsets.
Yeah, they
The VRs.
Yeah, the VR headsets.
Get one.
There are definitely some interesting fucking technology they figured out there.
Yeah, they have like a lot of training programs too. People train on VR. Also.
Yep.
Put stuff together.
Yep.
Select stuff. Yep. Like VR.
Yeah, you damn near freaking like basically like learning how to do something without actually being out of your house. You know what I mean? You're just with the glasses on. Just fucking doing oil changes and shit.
Yeah. Putting something together.
Like mechanic stuff type stuff.
Truck driving
simulators. Yeah, truck driving simulators. Yeah.
They got all that.
Yeah, I think a lot of I think they said that like a lot of the some of the army training and stuff like that, some of the military training they do.
Pilots.
They're doing VR. They got the whole thing where they're doing the run and gun, but they're in stationary, with the VR headsets and stuff.
Yep. The boxing ring.
Yep.
Yeah.
All that stuff, man.
And they're using the AI for the targeting over there with the missiles.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence.
Yep. Brain C-hip, able to move things with your mind, play games and things like that.
Yeah, you gotta understand. Like this isn't something that Esau just like stumbled upon and now he's like, oh, this is great technology. We can use it for this. This is, like I said, the reason why AI is so advanced right now is because it's so much compounded data that's been collected over hundreds of years. I'm sure they've been collecting this data for a long time to be able to use it like it is now.
The adventures that we see is basically what the elite think about.
Yep.
The elite think about it, and then they get the rich people to invest into it.
Yeah, remember everything was mechanical. Well, everything was pretty much mechanical, and now they're trying to make it electronical. So like everything has a chip. That's why cars used to be very mechanical, very just fucking wheels, engines, combustion, right? And gas, boom, whatever.
Now they use computer software and microchips to control the mechanics.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
That's it. And that's everywhere now, and all that data is stored somewhere, because just like in a car, it relays data back and forth to each other. That's why check engine lights come on. That's why it tells you, hey, this is wrong with this. Maybe it doesn't send a signal to even put pump gas into the car because of there's something going on. And, the chip just shuts it down. So no, you know what? To protect the car, we're not gonna allow it to move anymore, or whatever the case is, right? Stupid stuff like that. That's mechanical defects. But on non-mechanical defects, they can still just shut the fucking car down.
Yep.
What was that movie where the Teslas were just fucking running into each other and shit?
Oh yeah. Leave the world behind.
Yeah, leave the world behind. And then the airplanes was falling out of the sky. And then you had the game Watch Dogs when that came out. Now the premise of the game Watch Dogs was good. Just the delivery of the game itself was just trash because fucking Ubisoft don't know how to make a game, but that's besides the point. The point of Watch Dogs was everything was hackable, and really everything's on a grid of some sort. So that you could change the traffic lights to be green, to be red.
Right.
Everything's got a camera. It's easy to get into that camera, Then you have movies like Eagle Eye, that's able to do all that stuff, where it's AI controlling all that stuff. But the point is, all this data is being collected. Facial recognition, right? All that data is being collected on you. Before Before it would just be a thumbprint, and if you never got fucking hemmed up or something, they wouldn't know who you were. They wouldn't be able to, they wouldn't be able to see, he touched this book. I know who it is. If your fingerprints wasn't identifiable or never was put down, like you'd be hard to kind of identify who this, where who it was.
Yeah. There you go.
And now all this data is being tracked and stored up in the cloud.
Yeah. So with all this, the way that Esau's advancing technology, making things smaller, how is the MOTB not the C-hip?
Yep.
When
you
break it down,
Sucky.
right?
And then the crazy thing about AI is, like, even if you go in your photos, if you type in in your photos, I don't know, red T-shirt, it's gonna show you all your photos of red T-shirt. Like, how does it know that? What date is it? I guess numbers and numerology is the system using, or the computer chip's using to be able to even put those to equate that together. You know what I mean? Basically, they're establishing certain objects. Yeah. So you can put certain objects. So they're basically putting objects with text and able to,
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I always wondered what that search thing was for. I never used it.
Spotlight.
Yep. It's convenient, man. You fucking. The amount of times I'd be like, because before you could just, if you typed in like a text, like say, hey, and there was a picture with hey on it, it would come up hey. But now you can literally just, there's no text on the picture at all. You're just it's just saying like just coming up what's in that picture.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's like
I put jobs in there and it pulled up screenshots of me looking at jobs.
Reading
the word.
Yeah, sometimes it will read the text, but other times it just puts it together. It fucking be a guy with a construction hat on. It just knows it's a job. Like,
oh no, it's not. The word job is not even there. Okay.
Oh, that's right there. Yeah, find jobs.
No. That's the what is
I see what you're saying. Okay. Oh shit. Okay, I got you. I thought there was a whole screenshot.
Got you. It is a screenshot, but it's not. The whole. That's not part.
Oh, got you.
That's the
app. Yep. Collection of data, man. Esau's using it for fucking for control and to basically play God, man. That's what it's all about, playing God.
Look up something online and you start seeing advertisements about it everywhere.
So you're saying something, they'll start picking up on what you're saying, but act like it ain't listening to you.
Even your voice.
Motherfucker listening to
you.
I
was just talking about this. And it just showed up on the, So imagine what Esau's going to be able to do with planting that type of technology inside of a person.
Yeah.
Scanning your biometrics, tracking you, being able to listen to your communication.
And here's the thing, man. I'm gonna give Esau Edom and the damn devil some credit. That's why I talks about that. Like the miracles that he's gonna be able to perform with this microchip is gonna be something crazy.
Yeah.
People are gonna be able to see again. People are gonna be able to hear again. People are gonna be able to all this like. They're already kind of showing you the technology. I think they showed those glasses. The guy that was like blind or not blind, but he was colorblind or like that. He was able to put those glasses on. Was able to see color again. But the things that Esau's gonna be able to do with this microchip is gonna be fucking crazy. It's gonna be groundbreaking to things that look at the movie Upgrade with the fucking STEM microchip that was able to give him all this freaking basically superpowers and stuff like that. That's basically what Esau's gonna be able to do with this microchip. It's not gonna be just like something like that's not gonna be like. I can just unlock my door. Like, no, you're gonna be do some crazy stuff with this freaking microchip. Some crazy. That's why they're already pointing in monkeys to do all kinds of different things with it. It's gonna be like some groundbreaking shit that people are gonna be like, oh, I need that.
Yep.
Biohacker people.
Yeah. It's not like it's forcing you to do something or forcing you to get something that's like not gonna be a benefit. No, it's gonna be a fucking huge benefit to a lot of these people.
Right.
But,
and then we're talking about buying and selling, right?
Yep.
You being able to put food on the table, go back to work.
Yep.
Be not being an outcast in society.
Yep.
And then if all that don't work, Esau gonna be looking to put people to death.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's gonna give you an illusion of choice. Right. You're gonna give you the illusion of just listen. Here's a great product for you. All right. Listen, you don't want to take the great product, but you need to take it anyways. All right, you don't want to take it anyways, I'm just going to kill you then. That's going to be the stages of it. The stage is going to be like, hey, listen, I got this great thing for you. You don't have to take it, but you're just going to be ostracized from society. All right, now you have to take it, because if you don't take it, we're about to put you to death.
It's going to be, because at first it's going to be a thing of, convenience and, all these different things. But then, gradually, Esau's going to make it a necessity.
Yep. And that's where we're at now. I just want to let the people know that that's where we're at right now. We're at the time of this. Isn't something like a couple of years ago. It is now here. You can actively get the chip for convenience.
Right.
You can go to a tattoo artist. They can put it in your hand, and you can go and put your passport on there, wave it in front. They show videos of that. You still can. It's near field communications all in all these major corporations, even not minor corporations. You can go to the hood and go to the gas station, the fucking hood, and use near field communications, which would be a chip in your hand. So you can do it for convenience. There's already people actively using the RFID microchip for convenience.
Right.
It's just not really all that convenient. Like it's like when flat screens first came out. Like, do you really need a flat screen? Like, no, my TV's fine. Do I really need this technology? No, because my keys are fine. My wallet's fine, right?
Yeah.
But wait until it really becomes flat
TVs came out. They pretty much adopted really quickly.
They did. I think they said. Well, they also said when you go back into it, they said that they wanted to phase out box TVs within I think 5 to 10 years of the flat screens coming out. So their goal was to just make it all flat screens into the LEDs that they now have today.
Pretty much, you can't even buy a new one. I don't think. Cathode ray CRT.
Yeah.
Cathode tube ray or something like that. I bought one. I bought a cathode ray, a 19-inch. I remember that. Cathode ray. Thought that was new, it was decent. Like, wow, this is
Yeah, and a lot of people debating over the LED versus the what was the other one? The
Plasma?
The plasma. But the problem with the plasma is the bulbs that were in there, the halogen bulbs, or whatever. The halogen bulbs that were in there freaking costed a damn fortune when they broke, and LEDs just became, the better option of
liquid crystal
TVs. Yeah,
display.
backlit display, sidelit display.
Yep.
True,
anyway,
true
yeah.
black versus created black.
Yeah.
But that was groundbreaking at that time too. When the flat screens started coming out, And now look at that. Now they're razor thin TVs, man.
Yeah, man.
We got modular.
Yeah, OLED, yeah.
Micro LED or LED.
Yeah, I remember when just like touchscreen phones started to become popular.
Yeah.
Like that was just like, what? You could touch it and like, Because then before that it was the BlackBerry, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the BlackBerry, and then you had the iPod Touch. The iPod Touch was groundbreaking. It's like, man, imagine if this could be a phone. And then sure enough, a couple years later, they made the iPod Touch a phone.
Now everything is in your phone, right? Just
apps,
Yeah, apps, computer type of technology, right? Storage. Yep. It's not just simple as calling and texting.
Bro, it's your fucking identity, man.
Yeah.
Here's the problem with the phone. If you lose your phone and you try to get access anywhere else, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna send a verification to where? To your fucking phone.
Phone number.
Yeah. So don't lose your phone, because you're basically everything about everything of you is your phone now.
Yeah,
it's basically your identity.
And certain like accounts you may create, if you don't have access to that phone number, you through.
Yeah,
You can't even access it.
It's fucking evil. It's actually evil.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like me and the Buck talk about this all the time. But like a lot of these verification, processes that they come up with, it's really the only people it keeps out is the fucking user themselves. That's all these two-step verifications and these elaborate passes you got to create. The only people it keeps out is yourself. And then like you look at like when there's a breach in data, or like they got your data. It's not because they knew your password. It's because they fucking hacked the system of some sort, and it was a data breach where anybody who's got up in there was able to see all that data. Like it's not like someone found out your password and they had your two-step verification code sent to them. It's very rare that you get scammed that way, because you didn't have a two-step verification set up.
God,
Data breach.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't the credit bureaus, one of those?
Yep.
All of them
Yeah.
had data breach?
AT&T.
Yeah.
Yep, somebody got in there.
Well, remember PlayStation? Before PlayStation,
and they supposed to have cybersecurity guys in there working on that.
before PlayStation made people charge. Remember, PlayStation was originally PlayStation 1. PlayStation 2 was free online. When Xbox 360 had to pay for a subscription. I believe in PS3, but then they had that data breach, I think, for PS4, and then that's when they started making it you pay for online.
Yeah.
Because it was a data breach, and people's accounts and anything that they had on, like if they had credit cards on there, a lot of people their information was compromised. So their credit cards were exposed, or their information, where they lived, all that stuff was exposed.
Yep.
Yeah, because back then, Esau wasn't wiser than Daniel. Back then, Esau was a dumbass.
Yeah.
He was in a damn caves.
Yeah.
Then he started getting to, he's into witchcraft. Then he started increasing witchcraft when he got to the Greco-Roman Empire. And then when he came up with the semiconductor materials and all that, microchips,
gunpowder,
electricity.
Right. Yeah. All that.
That's when he started to compile data.
Yeah, because Esau's a mastermind of seeing what other person's doing, all right, and then fucking stealing it for what he is, and then putting all the pieces together. He's good at stealing everybody's piece of the puzzle and putting the puzzle together for himself, to weaponize it or to do this or do that. Because like when you look up a lot of these inventions, he basically stole it from Jake or from other nations or wherever it may be.
Yep.
That way they had the library at Alexandria.
Yep.
I believe Alexander the Great, commissioned that library to be built. And that's like before computers. That's when they were compiling data together.
Right. Yeah. In libraries and
Got something. It says Daniel 12:4, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. It says many shall run to and fro, and knowledge should be increased.
Yeah. And hey, that's happening at a rapid like as like the decades and time progresses, it's happening more and more rapidly. Like when you see like the development from, let's say, just 1900 to 2000, from 2000 to 2026, I mean, that's a huge jump. It's a huge change, you know?
Yep.
But that's, that's that knowledge being increased, you know? And the days getting sped up rapidly, right?
It says, and knowledge should be increased. Yeah. So, you know, you go back to the 1800s, you know, up until now, you know, that's a very short period for things to quickly advance. You know, going before that, it was just, you know, again, just obviously, you know, the ancient type of lifestyle. But, you know, now just, well, you know, coming to the 1800s, again, you know, things completely sped up. You know, you had the Industrial Revolution, and then, you know, you have the age of now, you know, of technology.
Yeah, that's why I like these guys who've done, like, you know, 20, 30 years in prison. When they come back, you know, everything has changed. They don't know how to operate in society because everything, you know, pretty much the majority of things have become digital. Technology, right? You know, you got self-checkout everywhere. You know? Cameras everywhere.
Fucking funny thing is you have 30 lanes and then the fucking self-checkout's the only thing that's open.
Yeah.
So when you put having all these fucking lanes, you can't have no one running it.
But yeah.
You go to Wawa got self-checkouts now, you know?
Yeah. That's you know, that's what they're doing. Hiring less and less people and having the technology do certain functions, as we were just going into.
Yep.
You know, I'm trying to call my bank about certain things, and I'm getting straight to AI, and the AI's basic settings is like, if I'm calling, you know, I can't talk to an AI with basic, you know, giving me basic settings or whatever.
Yep.
You know, I need to actually talk to somebody because it's a little bit more complicated. Because you know, if I needed that, you know, a lot of your things you can do it through your mobile banking app.
Yep.
You know. But certain things you're gonna have to actually call, you know, a person to you know, resolve certain issues you may be having. But yeah, get Revelation 13 and 15.
It says Revelation 13 and 15. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast shall both speak, and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast shall be killed. Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
It says, and he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads.
Yep, and get that word for mark, which we know is charagma. Right, and this isn't just you know, this isn't like a tattoo or a, you know, QR code or, you know, something like that, right? This is the chip, the RFID technology, and this is going to have many different functions, right? What Esau is doing, right, is, you know, things that used to have one function, right? Like a phone could only call or text, or like, you know, your basic what do you call them? A wireless access point, like a router. A router is, you know, it has multiple different functions inside of it now. It's more than just, you know, connecting it to certain devices and, you know, making a network. You know, a router has, you know, many different functions now, right? And that's what Esau is doing with you know, these different technology, right? Combining it all into one, making things smaller, right? Everything is a chip. You got a chip in your, you know, your card, right? Your cars, your phone, right? And now the next step is going to be him putting that inside of your body, all right? To merge you with machine, for him to have that ultimate control over you, right? To be like the Most High. You know, that's his ultimate goal. What?
So the Greek word charagma, or for a mark, is charagma. It says a stamp and a printed mark are the marks stamped on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the Antichrist. It says the mark branded upon horses, thing carved, sculpture, graven work.
Yeah. So if you get to see him, you're gonna be branded. You're gonna be branded like a horse is like a slave, right? Like how Esau used to do it with when he would brand you, right, with the hot iron right on your back or whatever, right? That in the modern day is going to be that sea hill, you know, and it's physical etching in the skin. It's not anything spiritual. It's not anything that's intangible. You know, it's something that physical.
It's not a thought process or religion. You know, a belief. It's not a belief system in your mind that as long as you believe it, you got the C-hip. Like no.
Yep.
It's an actual physical thing.
Yeah, physical. And you got to remember that.
It's not Christianity or sleeping with a white woman.
Yeah, Esau's carnal, man. You know, it's not going to be something like Christianity, embargo, sin.
Yeah.
You know, how many sins did you commit today? Oh, you know, and it's confusion because when you break down buying or selling, if you have it, you know.
Yeah, you gotta get it. Yeah, you gotta fucking put the two and two together, man.
Yeah.
Yep. It says a scratch or etching, i.e., as a badge of servitude. Yeah. So you know, the BLB guys are being much more specific, you know, compared to the the Jake, who sold out.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, ultimately, of course, we understand, you know, exactly what it is.
Yeah, and that's how you know they sold out, because the breakdown is simple. The breakdown of the MOTB is one of the most simplest breakdowns. You know, it's black and white. It's point. You know. Go ahead, read it.
It says, i.e., stamp as a badge of servitude. It says, or sculptured figure. Graven, or it says graven mark. So, yeah.
Graven mark, something that they're going to be looking to put under your skin, all right, or in your forehead, or really, it doesn't really even matter where in your body, right? But those are the two main areas. Yeah. You know, your just because you get the C-hip in your heel doesn't mean that you're good, all right? You know, if you get it anywhere in your body, you know, you're gonna get the judgment. You know, and it doesn't matter if it's in you and you take it out and all that. No, if you take it, you're done. You're through. All right. And it doesn't matter if you take it now, you took it 20 years ago, you know, or you take it when it's mandated. If you take it at all, you're gonna, you know, that's it. Go ahead.
It says, Revelation 13 and 17. It says, and that no man might bar so, save he that had a mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
Yeah, so you're not going to be able to buy, sell, trade, make transactions, access your bank accounts. You're not going to be able to do any of those things if you don't have the C-hip. You know, operate in society. You know, be accepted in society. You know. And a lot of people is going to make that, take the C-hip out of emotion, you know, especially women. All right? People, you know, go ahead.
It says, and that no man might borrow so, save he that had a mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. It says, verse 18, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Yep, 666, right? The Chi-Psi stigma. You know, which he puts in all his products, movies, shows, barcodes, right? Esau is, you know, he's obsessed with the number 666. You know. That's it on that. You can get Ezekiel 35:1. Or actually, real quick, get the judgment too. Get the judgment first.
It says Revelation 14 and 9. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High. It says, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels. And
so if you take that C-hip, all right, you're destined for destruction. You're destined for what's to come into Babylon. You're not going to get salvation, right? Because if you take it, we know for a fact, you know, you're not a part of the elect. You know, read that again. Read it from the beginning again.
It says Revelation 14 and 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb.
Yep. And that's not talking about hell, all right? A spiritual hell that you're going to burn in forever. That's talking about the thermonuclear destruction, right? That's going to take place in Babylon. You know, the second death. Yep.
It says, verse 11, and the torment, or Slakia, it says, in the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Yeah.
Yep. And whosoever receiveth the mark of his name, right? Because it's more than just putting a chip inside. You're pretty much worshiping Esau as your power, right? You're fully aligned with his ways, his philosophies, right? You know, that's essentially what you're doing. You know, you're putting him as your God over Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. You know?
Yep. It says, verse 12, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High, the faith of Yahweh Shai. Yeah, so as the scriptures say, you know, those who can keep those, or basically, you know, those who keep the word of the Lord's patience, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is going to keep them from the hour of temptation. Revelation chapter 3 and 10. Yep. Also getting the other judgment of the mark, it says, Revelation 16 and 1, it says, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of the Most High upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell some, it says, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. Yeah, so what?
That sore, like ulcer or something? You look that up?
Yep. So Greek word is helkos for sore. It says a wound, especially a wound producing a discharge pus. And also says an ulcer.
That's a curse. That Lord gonna give you a disease.
Yep.
Okay? or the device going to cause it. Right? So that's the sore they're going to receive. The wound producing pus. That's the curse. It's against the law. We the word there in the law is quack, about printing marks on your flesh. You're not supposed to print any marks on your flesh. So the penalty is you're gonna get a sore. Then you're gonna get burnt with fire, with hellfire.
It says, it also says a suppurated wound. And when you get that word for suppurated, it says suppurate, meaning undergo the formation of pus or to fester. So it says from Latin, suppurat or suppurare, meaning fester under the surface. It says from sub, below. So what does that mean? Under the surface of the skin.
Yeah.
So, how can it be Christianity? How can it be, any of these other things? Sleeping with a white woman.
Right.
Read again. It says, Revelation 16 and 2. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast. It says, and upon them which worshipped his image. See?
It's a penalty, yeah. It's a penalty.
Yeah.
Yahweh is going to pay you for committing that transgression. That transgression is no forgiveness for that transgression.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a sin unto death. And what did John say? I do not ask that you should pray for it. So if thou see a brother, find that. If thou see a brother that commits a sin which is not unto death, pray for him and you can restore that brother, roughly paraphrasing. That is a sin unto death. Receiving that brand that charagma in your right hand or any place on your left hand. The right hand typically is more people are right-handed, and I believe your right side of your body is warmer than the left side.
That's it. Go on. It says John 5:16. If any man see his brother sin a sin which is not unto death, he shall ask, and he shall give him life for them that sin not unto death. There is a sin unto death. I pray, it's like it says, I do not say that he shall pray for it.
Can you get another version?
Gone.
They said the Christian church got it wrong. And then when you go to Romans, the first chapter, the Christians got it wrong too, because they don't read Romans, the first chapter. But
it says, 1 John 5:16 in the NLT. It says, if you see a fellow believer sinning in a way that does not lead to death, you should pray, and the Most High will give that person life. But there is a sin that leads to death, and I am not saying you should pray for those who commit it.
There you go. So it's eternal forgiveness that's taught is a lie.
Right.
All right. There's a point where someone commits a sin unto death. With that R3 microchip is a prime example. All right. That's you don't pray. You don't have to pray because you can't pray anyway because it gives you that's a strict law, right? Strict commandment that was given that if you take the implantable microchip, you're going to get that ulcer, that sore, and you're going to get fire and brimstone. You're going to be burnt up in the hellfire in Revelation 14th chapter. It's just drink the wine and the wrath of the Most High. Poured out without mixture. You got more?
Yeah, Con. So it says NIV. It says, if you see any brother or sister commit a sin that does not lead to death, or gone. It says, read again. It says 1 John 5:16. If you see any brother or sister commit a sin that does not lead to death, you should pray, and the Most High will give them life. I refer to those whose sin does not lead to death. It says there is a sin that leads.
I refer to those whose sin that does not lead to death. What?
It says, there is a sin that leads to death. I'm not saying that you should pray about that.
There you go. So it's even plainer.
Yeah.
Just because you don't like the late modern English, we got a more modern English. All right. What? More?
Gone. That's
it. Yeah, so those are sin. Go back to Revelation 14. Were you in 14?
That was I was in 16.
16. I should go to 14.
Gone.
Because the 13th chapter tells you about the mark, then the 14th chapter tells you about punishment, and then the 16th chapter tells you about more punishment.
Yep.
So read the penalty. The first penalty of taking it is in the 14th chapter.
Gone. Gone. It says Revelation 14:9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
All right. Torment. So look up torment. Now torment in this respect does mean fire. All right. All right. Now torment at its basis doesn't mean fire. All right. It means pain, suffering. Like a storm is a tempest. All right. But in this respect, it's referring to fire and brimstone and disease. The ulcer. You'll be tormented with that. All right.
Con. It says for tormented in the Greek, it says basanizo, meaning to test says to test, in parentheses, metals by the touchstone.
Whoa. A touchstone, yeah. That's heated, I believe a touchstone is a heated stone. All right. Touchstone.
Yeah.
Touchstone Films, that's a film house.
Yeah.
Film studio.
Uh-huh.
Good. I'm not saying good.
It says touchstone, a piece of fine grained dark schist or jasper formerly used for testing alloys of gold by observing the color of the mark which they made on it. It also says a standard or criterion by which something is judged or recognized.
Touchstone. So I guess it mixes with the other metal, and then it makes a certain color or a certain type of mark. Right.
Yeah.
We can go deeper into that, but if you want, but if not, just go to back to definition.
It says the question by applying torture. It's a torture to vex with grievous pains of body or mind. It also says
torture, grievous pains. What?
It says to be harassed, distressed.
Harassed, distressed. Yeah. So not necessarily fire, but it can include fire.
It says of those who are at sea are struggling with the headwind. Well, I guess that's another
storm. Yeah, storm. Yeah. Tempest.
It says, pain. Yes, it's pain, toil, toss, vex. And that's it on that.
There you go. Tormented. Okay, go back to read the scripture again.
Gone. It says, Revelation 14:10. It says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. It says, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
Fire and brimstone. All right. So that's the pain you're gonna go through. You're gonna go through the fire and brimstone pain. That sort of pain you're gonna go through. All right. If you take the implantable microchip. All right. Now, go to Ecclesiastes about the spirit of man goes upward. All right. All of them are there together. There's another precept, or it might be the same one. There the wicked and the righteous rest together, something like that. Good.
It says Ecclesiastes 3:21. It says, who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward into the earth.
Right. Yeah, so the spirit of man returns to the spirit world, and the spirit of the beast, stays on the earth and gets reincarnated to its genetic line.
Verse 20, it says, Ecclesiastes 3:20, it says, all go unto one place, all are of the dust. It says, and all turned to dust again.
Where it say, there the wicked cease from troubling? There the wicked cease from troubling. It might be before that, or it might be a different precept. Cease from troubling. I believe that's the phrase that was used there. But I want you to read that one again too. Yeah, because once you get tormented with the fire and brimstone,
Job 3:17.
you're gonna Job 3:17. Then your spirit gonna go to the Most High. The spirit of man goes upward. Okay, it doesn't matter what you did on earth. The spirit of the man goes upward. That's a designated location. All right.
Con. It says Job 3:17. It says there the wicked cease. 16. It says Job 3:16, or as in hidden, or it says, or as in hidden untimely birth I had not been, as infants which never saw light. It says there the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest.
Yeah, it goes back to they all go to one place. Like you read in Ecclesiastes. Or Ecclesiastes, yeah. So go back to that.
It says Ecclesiastes 3:20. It says all go unto one place. It says all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. It says, who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward into the earth.
Yeah, it didn't say wicked man, righteous man, the spirit of man. Goes upward. Yeah, so Edomites are not going to go to a hell universe when they die. They're gonna go up to the spirit world and be at peace and tranquility. They're going to be in a neutral state.
That's why it's going to be on the third.
Because it should have been talked about how the freaking the Egyptians went into hell after falling after the Israelites. when they were escaping out of the land of Egypt. Should have said that all the Egyptians went to hell afterwards, you know, to serve fucking eternal damnation of hellfire. That's not what happened.
The spirit's not going to be in that state forever. It's only going to be for a moment. I know Babylon, America is going to be in that state forever.
Yeah.
Right? For a long, which is a long period of time, for ages. Right? America is going to be a fiery pit of fire and brimstone for a very long time. But the spirit is going to get released into the heavens.
Remember, fire is a physical thing. You know, fire is a physical.
Well, that's a spiritual fire they talk about.
Yeah. I don't know what that. Yeah. Fucking make this shit. Yeah. Just fucking making shit up. Yeah. Just like, and the things like that's why the scriptures. Remember, water and fire are the two worst things to die by, right? And the scriptures talk about that. And that's why originally the world was once destroyed by water, but now this time it's going to be destroyed by fire. So why is it going to be destroyed by a physical fire, but then you're going to be in hell in a spiritual fire? So before the earth gets destroyed by the spiritual or the physical fire, are people dying by a fucking lake of water right now? Like, are they in a hell of a lake of water? Like, no. Like,
I mean, look, it's possible, but the thing is, it's not what the Lord designed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay? The Lord didn't design it.
He didn't design a heaven and hell like that, like the way it's taught in Christianity.
Because the only fire that's not consumed is the Father.
Yep.
That's an everlasting. Scripture says He's an everlasting fire and consuming flame.
Yep.
So you're gonna burn in the bosom of the Most High.
Yep.
But that's not what's written. What's written is fire and brimstone. America's gonna turn to a lake of fire.
Yep.
Then the spirits are gonna return to the Father who gave it.
Yeah. Talks about their eyes shall consume away in their
holes.
Yep.
Yeah, that means their body's gonna be destroyed.
Yep.
And the spirit gonna get released.
There you go. Back to the Father who sent it.
Father of spirits. All right, last precept.
It says Ecclesiastes 12:7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto the Most High who gave it.
Yeah. When Zechariah or Zephaniah says that the eyes shall consume, let's get that.
Yeah, Zephaniah 3:9, I think that is.
Zephaniah. This is to be the curse to all the nations that fought against Jerusalem. It's really talking about Esau. All right.
Look at it.
Gone. It says
Esau is divided up into different nations. The Macedonians, he usurped the Greeks, the Romans, Americans, British. All right. But the punishment is going to take place in the so-called J's. It's going to take place in the land of Israel and the land of America. That's where the fire is going to consume them, and their eyes. That's his brother's about to read. What?
So it says, Zechariah 14:12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
Now, two things can do that: the chariots of Israel and the nuclear weapons, which is fire. It's chemical reaction. Nuclear fusion is chemical reaction. Fire itself is a chemical reaction. It's chemicals. All right. So we got the chariots, got the War of the World scenario. Chariots of Israel and the horsemen thereof. They can have the ability to do that. They have the ability to do that. And nuclear weapons. Got more?
It says, verse 13, and it shall come to pass in that day that great tumult from the Lord Yahweh shall be among them, and they shall lay hold on every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. That's it.
Yeah. So Esau, Edom, his days are numbered, and Yahweh Bashim Yahushai prophesied it clearly in the book. So we know what capability, what tools had created Smith their blood coals and fire. So we know the capabilities of what Esau created, and it really the knowledge was given to Esau by the Father, by Yahushai. Right? Because Yahushai said all power is committed to me in heaven and in earth. Right. So all the information Esau got, he got from Yahushua. Yahushua made him the head of the nations. It was prophesied that though he was the head of the nations, he's gonna perish forever. Amalek, all right? Esau, which is the head of Esau. All right. You got to bring some out?
Yeah.
All right, I will close it out there. You have something you want to add?
Well, I'll just read this real quick. This is the book of Revelation 21:8. It says, "But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death."
It's the whole church. They worship JC. And he did die though. JC did die. Get the devil out. Get when Cesare Borgia was killed. They caught his ass. He was in he died in battle. They caught his ass and they killed him.
God.
He did die. JC did die. He was an evil motherfucker. He did die. They caught his ass. He was in the damn war.
Right.
I don't know if it's the French caught him or Italians caught him. I think he tried to disguise himself. Let's get a brief description of how Cesare Borgia died. All right, so if you all idolaters, this is idolatry. All right. It's a brief description.
God. So it says, Cesare Borgia died on March 12th, 1507. He was fighting his brother-in-law and the king of Navarre in a campaign in northern Spain. During a night pursuit near Viana, he charged ahead of his men in a storm. He became isolated from his troops, surrounded by enemies.
Dumbass.
You're proud.
God.
It says, surrounded by enemies, he was killed in combat, reportedly receiving multiple wounds, often said to be several spear or blade strikes.
Basically ran straight into his death.
His cousin-in-law. Devil.
Yep.
Spain. All right, there you go. So he did die, but he didn't die for your sins. All right, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
That's the point I want to bring out. You gotta put to death. But
He died, and
he
he
died
didn't rise again.
He didn't raise up on the third day.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
He stayed in the damn. He got reincarnated later, but he died there. He was not resurrected. And his body did see corruption.
Yep.
Howard Shah's body never saw corruption. It never decomposed or smelled or anything like that. All right. He was resurrected by the Father. You got more?
Yeah. It says, reality of the death, not an assassination, not poison, a battlefield death. It says his body was later found stripped of armor and left exposed.
Yep.
It says, bottom line, he died the way he lived, aggressive, exposed, and at the front, cut down after overextending without support.
Yep. So, it's pride. Pride is a lifted thee, you know?
Yeah, he died in vanity.
Yep.
Separated.
Yep. Just how Esau about to go down.
Dumbass. All right, we'll leave it there. You want to do?
No, I was gonna say this devil fucking. They were already retreating, but this devil had so much pride in him. He saw after them, just followed after them, just getting that. Then the motherfucker died.
That's
man.
probably.
They said they were retreating.
Yeah. Well, the one I read, he said he went after them while they were retreating, and then he got ambushed.
Yeah, that's probably what's similar to what's going to happen in 2nd Esdras 13th chapter.
That's why it says that his what is it? Is as death and his hell cannot be satisfied, right? Even when the enemies, or even when his enemies retreating, he's still fucking falling after the or even to his own demise. You know?
It says they were pursuing enemy troops.
His enemy troops, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess he went ahead of his force.
Yeah, we literally went, yeah. So I got it right here.
Yeah. He thought he was King David or something.
Yeah. He thought the Lord was dealing with him.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I got to say.
All right. Shalom. Hope you're edified. Talk to you next week. Shalom.
So.